This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our good buddies at Squarespace. The future is coming. Make it brighter with Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easy to turn your idea into a unique website. Showcase your work, blog, or publish content, even sell products and services of all kinds in just a few clicks. You can customize everything from look and feel to settings and products using beautiful templates created by world-class designers. And there's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Not too deep, not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
We're rolling.
We're rolling.
Hey, Jack.
Hi, Grace. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Not Too Deep. This is so exciting, as always.
It is, because we've got a very exciting guest this week.
Yeah. Would you like to introduce him by his name?
Okay, so we get into this a little bit in the episode, and I'm very embarrassed because apparently I had mispronounced his name in a previous episode of Not Too Deep, and now I've brought shame to my entire family.
Mm-hmm.
But this week we are inviting the lovely and wonderful
Oh,
I
good
already
try.
fucked it up.
I wish that was a bit, but it wasn't. Steven Suptic.
Steven Suptic.
And
I can't believe I did
and
it.
now I'm even listening to him like, is that even right? Septic?
Suptic, yeah.
Like suck dick?
I
mean, he would find that funny.
He would, yes. He's got a very dark sense of humor. I kind of pride myself in being able to pronounce people's names properly. I can't believe I did
that. He pointed out that he had listened to a recent episode before he came on and that Jack had pronounced his name wrong. So as long as it wasn't me, I'm feeling pretty good about this episode.
Yes, I feel really embarrassed and terrible.
But that aside, we had a really fun time talking with Steven, and I want to have him back ASAP because I feel like we only hit the tip of the iceberg on stuff to talk about and the cool things that he and his buds over at Sugar Pine 7 are working on, which in my opinion, and this isn't exaggerated, I think they're really like the future of YouTube. Like I really think they're doing cool, innovative things that feel fresh and new and funny, like genuinely very, very funny.
I completely agree. I started watching their videos, which we kind of discuss in the episode, so I won't spoil too much. But yeah, I'm kind of hooked. Like they're really nailing a specific kind of humor that I just find absolutely delightful.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's familiar and new media at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. It's really, really cool.
But the one thing I really like about their stuff, he calls it what is it called? What did he like coined this phrase of what his style is? Alternative lifestyle vlogging.
Yeah.
And so they basically play versions of themselves, but these like character versions of themselves, which lends me to the prompts that I have for this cold open before our interview and before we get into we're rooting for you.
Sure.
And because I just want to talk about it as a Bachelor. I've been watching it a lot.
Got it.
And I felt like this kind of tied in that The Bachelor, all the contestants are like versions of themselves.
Yeah, they have to like kind of play the most heightened version of themselves because they're also playing a character on this show.
Right. And I've been obsessed with it and watching it, and it's insane. And you can see how they're crafting different categories of person. Like this is the innocent one, the villain, the sexy one, the educated one, the this, the that, the other.
Yeah.
And so they kind of do that on the show. They have different like character personality types that are heightened. So I wanted to figure out from you, Jack, if you were on a reality show, what character type would you be, do you think?
I think it depends on the show because I've thought about this a lot.
Let's say you're on The Bachelor.
Okay.
The
Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I mean, probably I would be like the brainy guy, I guess. Okay. I would think.
Like the nerd.
Or I would be like the, maybe like, oh, he's like the snappy dresser, I guess, because that's something that people kind of is like, he always seems to be well put together.
Sure.
But I mean, honestly, I would probably get pigeonholed as like he's like the smart guy. Whatever. That seems to be the box I get put in a lot.
Sure.
Like in my friend groups and things like that.
Okay. You'd be like the filmmaker, like movie nerd guy.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
You know, like he's the guy who like pulls out a 10-cent word without, and I don't mean to do that all the time. It's just my personality type that I do that. But I also think it depends because I think if I was on a show like Survivor, I would easily become the villain.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm fascinated by like Machiavellian techniques to like scheme and things like that.
I also feel like you would put your foot in your mouth, that you don't
Without question.
You wouldn't have control of editing how those episodes go.
Yes.
And so they can edit all these like non-thought through Jack Ferry sound bites into something very evil.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure at some point while we were filming the series, I would be like, wait a minute. No, I'm not the villain. No, guys, come on. No. What about you? If you were on one of these reality shows,
I was trying to think of
your type.
My type, if I had control, would just probably be like uninterested, maybe, or like the
she's like the meta ironic one.
But it can be taken anyway. If I'm like commenting on things in a funny way, that can be totally twisted to be like, she's the bitch that's just making fun of everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
Or the silly aloof one, like dumb blonde would be fun. But I think
like the Lisa Kudrow kind of character.
Yeah, I think if I was on The Bachelor, I would probably recognize quickly that I'm not interested in this guy. And so I'd want to be the funny person on the show.
Sure.
That's like quietly funny. That's not like trying to be goofy class clown person, but just like, I think I'd make friends with all the producers and cameramen and try to give jokes in the interviews of not taking it too seriously.
I also think you'd ingratiate yourself to most of the other contestants because you like to hang out, you like to drink.
No, I think I like to drink and be by myself. That they'd be like, she's the serial killer. Like she keeps going into her room and hanging out. She keeps taking.
So you'd be the villain.
Probably no. I'd just be like the serial killer. Like the villain interacts and tries to bring people down. I'd just be taking a bottle of vodka from the open bar and going quietly and closing the door in my room. Being like, I'll do all my talking head interviews in here.
Right. While all the other contestants are going, what is she doing in there?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really every night. It's like every night.
Yeah. And then I just turn on some jams, dance by myself.
She's listening. I swear she listens to the same 3 jock jams. Every night.
All of my talking head interviews would be like, I'm genuinely not here to make friends. So, I'm good. But I don't dislike anyone. I just don't let people in. So.
Great. That's so great.
Okay, let's talk about who we're rooting for this week in a segment called We Are Rooting For You, where we pick someone or something that we are rooting for this week.
That's right.
Oh, okay. I'm like between two, but one of mine, because you told me what yours was beforehand, is kind of a bigger thing on what yours is.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
I'll let you start and then it kind of expands on what
Cool. So I am rooting for the Valley folk.
Ooh.
Which I thought was appropriate to mention this on Steven's episode because
they're intertwined. They're old friends and they kind of do stuff together.
And they also kind of come from some similar roots, which we kind of get into. But for those of you guys who don't know, you should definitely check them out. They are my friends.
It's Lee Newton, Elliot
Morgan. I'm trying to remember everyone's last name. Yeah. Steve Zaragoza and Joe Beretta. So they are former like SourceFed hosts and producers as well.
Yeah.
Who have been talking about this for a while with me privately. Like we're trying to start our own thing and figuring it out. And they were anxious and they were going through that same level, that kind of anxiety, like when you were transitioning out of My Name Channel and starting your new channel again. And they're like, we're nervous about it. And I was just like, you guys, you're so talented. You're so funny. I'm sure whatever you do is going to be successful. And we chatted a little bit about it, and I'm so happy that they launched. At this point now, it'll be a couple weeks ago, and they launched this thing, which so far seems to be really successful. They started a Patreon, and they started a new channel called The Valley Folk, which
a
podcast, and then it's immediately like got a ton of subscribers right out of the gate, which I'm so happy because. They're some of the nicest, funniest, most wonderful. I mean, obviously, we've had
hardworking.
Yeah, we've had most of them on the show.
Yeah,
and also on Popcorn, and they're just such great people.
Yeah, they have a lot of really great ideas for the future of stuff that they want to produce,
and they just want to make funny stuff. They just want to be able to make stuff and the kind of content they've always wanted to make, but they want to be able to make it. The way they've wanted to make it for their audience that loves them. And their goal is so like genuine and wonderful because, their goal is they want to grow the company to the point where they can all live off of it and have health insurance.
Yeah.
Which is so admirable. And so it's not like they're trying to like, we want to buy a mansion or anything like that. Like we just want to be able to support ourselves, have the health insurance that we need so that we can continue to make the kind of content that we've always wanted to make for you guys. And I just applaud them. They are my friends and my heroes. And
they're genuine friends.
Yeah, they're
off camera.
Like, we actually hang out. Like I go to their stand-up shows and we hang out and get drinks and coffee and things like that. And so
they're great.
So the Valley Folk, I am rooting for you.
We're rooting for you.
We're rooting for you guys.
To kind of bounce off of that, I'm rooting for all old school YouTubers in a way.
Okay, great.
I feel like there's this new era in light of activity and the environment that's happening on YouTube where a lot of us old folk, including the Valley folk that have been around doing stuff for a while, that there's kind of been this, in conversations I've had with like content creators, and you could hear it in the episode with Hannah and that she was on most recently with us, that there's this burnout that happens. And then there's this disappointment and frustration of how the platform's operating and how certain people on the platform are operating. And I think now, hopefully there will be a resurgence of all of us, myself included, figuring out like, what is our new next step? What is something that is innovative and fun? And what hopefully reinfuse the platform with a lot of the foundations that it started with, which is just, you know, genuine enjoyment, authentic personalities, and like real pure collaborative efforts across the board.
There was a beautiful like community vibe that was going around YouTube for a number of years. And, you know, as things happen when industries grow and money becomes such an important part, it becomes complicated, and it's gotten complicated. But I feel like there is a pull both on the creator side and on the audience side where people want to come back to that feeling of family. And I'm hoping that's going to be the thing of 2018.
Yeah, I saw Tyler Oakley. He tweets a lot about this. And he's also in that group of people that I think is going to do something like really fun and new, hopefully. He was tweeting, a lot of you, I see you guys saying, I miss old YouTube. Well, all your old YouTube favorites are still making content, and they only get put into the spotlight by you guys supporting them. So go check in with your old favorites and see what they're up to, because you might be surprised by what's going on over there. So I'm rooting for old YouTube.
And I'm also rooting for old YouTube.
Also, any elderly people that are using YouTube and I'm rooting for you too. With that, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, we have Steven
Suptic
with us of Sugar Pine 7, and a really funny interview. So stick around, and we'll be right back with more Not Too Deep and Steven Suptic. It's a hard last name to say.
Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by my good friends over at Third Love. When it comes to bra shopping, it's all about finding the right fit for you, and there's only one lingerie brand that offers bras in sizes AA through G. You guessed it already because I told you already. It's Third Love. Third Love uses thousands of real women's measurements and super smoothing memory foam to create bras that fit and feel great. While most old school bra brands only carry 15 sizes, Third Love offers 60 sizes, and more than that, including half cups. No one else does that. Third Love knows that there is a perfect bra for everyone. So right now they're offering you guys, my beautiful, wonderful listeners, 15% off of your first order. To find the bra that you've been waiting for all your life, all you have to do is answer a few simple questions from Third Love's Fit Finder quiz. It takes 60 seconds, and you can do it from home. There's no awkward fitting room bra experience with another human being. So try a Third Love bra because they are so comfortable. You will probably forget you're wearing it. I can attest to this because I wear sports bras for a living. I mean, not for a living. I wear them while I'm living. And I tried a Third Love bra, and dang, it feels great. I don't even know it's there. If you don't agree, returns and exchanges are easy and free. This year, make the change that will change the way you think about bras. Go to thirdlove.com/grace to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first order. That's thirdlove.com/grace. thirdlove.com/grace. Steve Suptic is here. How do I say your last name? Suptic?
Well, so I actually listened to the previous podcast you guys did when you were you mentioned me at a certain point.
Sugar Pine 7.
And I believe it was you. Who said septic?
I said septic? Did I?
It's Suptic,
I'm not trying to start drama right away.
No, we need Jack and I haven't had a riff for a little bit, so I would love a riff.
I apologize because I knew I did not mean to mispronounce your name. I'm getting flushed right now. I'm so embarrassed.
No, but how do you say it?
As you should be.
I apologize, Stephen. Suptic.
Suptic.
That's how you say it,
it's just septic, yeah.
Suptic, yeah.
Because I think of Septicai, which is another YouTuber, right?
And he's very nice.
Right. I've never met him, but that's my brain I also just mispronounce things. We're both from New Jersey, so
I'm so
I
embarrassed.
hold you guys at no
now.
fault.
I'm so sorry.
It just reminded me a lot of everyone in high school. So
because you're from Wisconsin.
Hey man, my last name is Ferry.
Illinois.
And then I did live in Wisconsin.
Okay. Oh, fair. Yeah.
I got made fun of a lot in high school as well for that last name. Actually, more middle school. Middle school is much worse.
Middle school was the worst.
Middle school is way worse than high school, and I feel like high school gets a bad
Also,
rap.
you just told us in the last podcast about how you dyed your hair and hung out with skaters in middle school.
That's
and
correct.
also were nervous about everything.
Uh-huh.
Which I think is every middle school kid by
right?
definition.
Yeah, we're trying to find ourselves then.
Yeah.
You know?
And also the ones that think they found themselves are the worst.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the meanest.
Let's
Okay,
be
so
honest, yes.
you lived in Wisconsin, but you're from Illinois.
Yes.
Okay, which was better?
Illinois.
Really?
For sure. There's nothing in Wisconsin. We lived in Swamico, which is...
That sounds like a fake town.
Well, a lot of towns in Wisconsin sound fake, don't they?
We live down the street from Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh.
Wow. I'm just saying wow.
But
Is
that's
that
actually,
good?
that might not be true.
He's the...
It's just a man that sort of looked
We
like
just
Aaron
heard stories from the neighbors that Aaron Rodgers lived in the same neighborhood. We never saw him.
Okay.
But we saw luxury cars pass by, and we just always assumed it was
Assumed.
Aaron Rodgers. And then
he's
I
the,
lived
he's
in...
the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
Right. That he was dating Olivia Munn.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Now we're back.
And we're back. Sorry, I had to mine my well of sports knowledge to figure that out.
So you might have lived near Aaron Rodgers. That's exciting.
There is a potential possibility that I did live in... And then I also lived in Seattle. Well, outside of Seattle.
Outside of Seattle.
For 6 months. And then I got invited to go do SourceFed. Well,
Yeah.
the gaming channel.
Okay, this is what I want to know. And like, I've tried to look this up, not to be a creep, of like your whole kind of like timeline of things. Fill me in on
no, that's
how
awesome.
everything
Thank you.
happened. Because I love what you do. It makes me, I had to watch a bunch of episodes that you guys make on Sugar Pine 7 on the treadmill because I get so angry because I think it's so smart and so good.
Thank you so much.
That I have to like walk out my anger while I'm watching, just as like I have a healthy balance.
Well, I owe a lot of that to Kib and James.
Who are two of your friends that you met?
Oh, I lucked
when?
out, yeah.
When?
That's
Yeah, explain
cool.
how this all
I'll do
happened.
the whole timeline
Okay,
in as quick a fashion as I possibly
you can take as long as you want.
So, I went to community college
Okay.
for 2 years, and it just wasn't for me.
Sure.
So I dropped out, and by that point, I had already learned how to edit because I made Halo montages. I was a big
Nice.
gamer boy.
Yeah, because you started out in like
Started out as
Minecraft and all of
gaming, yeah.
that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
You don't think it's not.
I'm not ashamed.
Hey, I started out making lip sync videos in my apartment. So
Still, though, that is miles above Minecraft.
I had purple hair in middle school, so we all have
Nailed it.
stories.
So I moved to Wisconsin with some friends that we were all doing YouTube at the time. We made a house together and made this channel called Bam Lounge.
Okay.
So I was doing gaming, and then I was also doing live sketches because that's what we were all passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
But they were never any good. I still enjoyed doing them, but I learned a lot. in
Do
the
they
process.
still exist online?
Yes.
Yay! just
Yes.
just to know. Okay.
There's some terrible things in there that
Should be found and exploited. Got it. Done and done.
So if you ever want to blackmail me, that's how you do it.
Perfect.
So I moved from Wisconsin. Afterwards, we got this business opportunity with another YouTuber out in Seattle.
Okay.
They were starting business out there, so we all came out to do this like collaborative community channel. Fell through almost immediately.
Okay.
And about 6 months into that, I had made connections at Machinima.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because got it. I was like, that's a
The
company
multi-
name that I haven't heard for a second.
The multi-channel network that
Yeah.
specialized in video game
Yeah.
content.
Yes.
Did you do that kind of stuff where like you would take like video game footage and then like create sketches out of it? What was
Yeah.
that called?
Machinima.
That was called Machinima,
Yeah.
Machinima as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then there were also animations, which is what I did more of.
Got it.
Yeah.
So would you do that like in Halo and stuff like that?
Halo was pretty tough to find like models and rigs for it, but I made like one machinima with Halo, but I was more into making Minecraft animations at the time.
Fun.
It was I learned a lot about storytelling.
That's
which is
great.
what I took from that. And then after those 6 months in Seattle, I moved out to LA because I'd met this guy named Jeremy Azevedo through Machinima,
Okay.
who went from Machinima to SourceFed and was working with Phil and all them. And they were like, "Do you want to come out and do or interview for the gaming channel?"
Got it.
Yeah, and it was between me and a really depressed guy. So
So little did they
So they
know
picked him.
how depressed you were. You just wore your depression inside. And that's what you've learned. People give you opportunities when you just wear it on your sleeve.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just keep bottling it up and.
Yep. Until you explode irrationally and at someone who doesn't deserve it. So you came down here and you did SourceFed for how long?
So the gaming channel lasted about 8 or 9 months.
Okay.
And then it got
And
nixed.
that was a few years into them doing SourceFed, right? Or did
Yeah.
that? Yeah. Because I remember that was like the second iteration of SourceFed was now they're expanding to gaming and like nerd-centric
Must
stuff.
have been like 4 or so years into SourceFed itself. And they decided not to call it SourceFed Plays or SourceFed Games or anything. They just didn't want, they went with Super Panic Frenzy.
Rolls off the tongue. Yeah. Real easy branding.
But we did that for about 8 months and it was doing really poorly for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end, it really started to pick up. But Discovery sold to, I forget who, and they turned into Group 9. And there's like, none of this is good.
Okay.
Which I don't blame them for thinking that. But they nixed that. And then I got about a year to figure out or maybe 6 months or so before they wanted me to do SourceFed, the news channel. So then I came back and did that. And
so you left and then came back.
Yeah, I tried to start my own business, which failed. And then I came back and then SourceFed got canceled.
So basically, you're like a lucky token for all of these companies.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how.
Should we start a business? I feel like we should start a business. I feel like you're a hot ticket right now. But so how long were you at SourceFed before that went apart?
6 or about the same time as Super Panic Frenzy, maybe a little less. So.
Okay, because that work environment is crazy. I remember they invited me before they did, I guess they were just starting to do like their nerd branches to come and like guest host one morning. And they were like, what time do you want to be there? And I was like, I don't know, like 11 maybe? That's early-ish.
Yeah, they're like, that's the end of the day.
Yeah, they're like,
we
that's
started at 5:30.
Yeah,
you guys started at 5? Oh, they started at 5:30.
They would start at like 6 a.m. They'd have to be in the office, Lee and Elliot and all them.
I know.
And then they would have a couple stories. They'd all be like researching their own stories. And I was like, this is what I imagine a newsroom is actually like. It was so different, dramatically different from how I operate, like working from home in my pajamas with my dog, just being like, you can read my thoughts, can't you? And it was so insane how much stuff they churned out, how much content they made. I mean, that must have been like a quick like workshop in like content
6 videos
creation.
a day for a while.
That's so crazy.
Holy moly.
Yeah, all those guys those are my heroes on YouTube, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
All those original SourceFed guys, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, they are super talented. I think don't get enough recognition for how much work they did in building
truly.
that.
And their improv is just...
They're so good. They're so good. But so are you and your friends, because now you've started this group. So did Sugar Pine 7 start right after SourceFed, or was this kind of like a passion project group mind idea? It
started just randomly.
Really?
When SourceFed ended, I had made these like a couple videos that were, about SourceFed ending, and they had a certain style to it that I don't know exactly what to attribute it to. I want to think like Dateline or something with the narration, when they do the freeze frame. It wasn't meant to be like Arrested Development.
It's also very Wonder Years.
I haven't seen that.
It's like Fred Savage. It's a classic, but it's really, and he voices over the whole thing and talks about his life going through. And
have you ever seen A Christmas Story?
I was about to say, I took a lot of inspiration from A Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story inspired the Wonder Years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Is it
It's
It's a movie.
It was
a TV show.
It's a TV show.
It was about a kid growing up in like the 60s and the 70s.
Oh.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
It's really reminiscent of what you are doing. So you made a couple of videos in that style.
We'll have to check it out. Yeah, and we made videos about SourceFed ending, and then I made this video where I was like, I'm just going to go to my friend's house and see what happens, because views were starting to pick up, and I was like, I might as well capitalize on this while I can.
Yeah.
Thank you, SourceFed. And I went to my friend's house, we filmed it, and then they just continued to do well.
Yeah.
And we just ran with it.
That's cool.
It just worked out, yeah.
And then now you have this like very rabid fan base, which is awesome.
Yeah, it turned into something that I never in a million years thought it would, because I've been doing YouTube since 2011, and you always have ups and downs. There's points where views are just, ugh, and then there are points where you're just like, I mean, this is the best it's going to get probably. But I never in a million years would have expected anything like this.
But that's what's so delightful about it, right? Is that it's impossible to predict what's going to do well, what's not going to do well. So when something that you genuinely like without any idea of this will probably do well, and then it does, surprisingly, it's like I don't know, I would think it's a more like purely proud moment.
Especially when it's something you want to keep doing too.
Right.
And you're not just stuck doing like Minecraft videos, you know. That's
you always have that to fall back on, though.
Surely you enjoyed making them at the time, though.
Yes. I enjoyed doing the animations because that was creatively fulfilling, but the gameplays, I don't know how anyone that's sustainable for a long period of time.
Sure.
Yeah, that seems. I can't comment on that. I have no idea what that world is like.
I mean, even us doing this now, it's like I don't know how long we can do it for.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. And so, like, when's your breaking point? Is basically my question. You've been doing this now for 2 years, a year.
Oh my God, since March. So it's either been a year or almost a year.
Almost okay.
A year, yeah.
And it's been, you guys have had like this massive trajectory, and you must feel like a lot of pressure to like continue the way it's going, but also you guys create a lot of content in the grand scheme of like content creation. You're making a video a day?
Almost. We make 5 videos a week. 4 of them are the like normal skit type videos. One of them's a podcast.
Okay. So also I'm so fascinated by the creative process in it because it seems like it's the lines are blurred between it being scripted and real moments or improvised moments. Mm-hmm. And what's the breakdown of that?
Depends on the video.
Right.
For the season premieres and maybe the episodes leading up to the season finales, we script a lot. When it's day to day, we make bullet points of stuff that we want to hit, like plot points, and we just roll with it. If we have specific lines that maybe we think are funny, we'll add it to it, and then if it works out, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
That's very Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, actually, we shoot it a lot like they do. Did you hear about that Curb Your Enthusiasm saved a man's life from prison?
Yes. Oh,
holy shit!
Have
what?
You? Oh,
no, I haven't heard this.
How have you not heard about this?
No, I didn't. Tell me.
It's this insane story where a guy at a baseball game was like wrongfully accused, but they were shooting an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm at the Dodgers game that day, and they were able to find him in the audience in the background.
Isn't that amazing?
But it's so insane. I know you have to. That's not like, is that a Dateline thing?
Wow.
I don't know. Oh, it's a Netflix thing. I think they're making a show about it. Yeah.
Larry David saves the day.
They interview Larry David too. That's the best part. They interview him, and you can tell that he like is trying to feel emotion about it. But he's like, yeah, we saved his life. I don't know. And it's like the nicest he'll probably ever like come across.
That's so funny.
It's really pretty crazy. So keep all of your archive footage. You never know who's going to need to be spotted.
You never know. You have to exonerate someone.
Yeah, because also you guys have a lot of people in the backgrounds of shots that you'll like focus in on. Do you get people to sign releases or anything, or you're just like,
no, we are very worried about that.
Well, I won't advertise it then because I'm like, do they sign releases or are they just hoping they don't get this video seen by this person?
Well, yeah. I think the rule is if they tell you to take it down, then you just take it down, and only then do you get in trouble.
I think the biggest thing with that is that we haven't considered the consequences.
I think blissful ignorance is a great way to go through life. I personally use that as like a mantra. That
seek
if I don't know, it's
not permission, right?
Yeah, ask for forgiveness, don't beg for permission.
Yeah.
It's so funny, and because I was watching your video the other day about you guys being in the arcade, and you can go step by step of when you get found shooting in a public space.
The thing is, I did intend to blur the arcade manager's face out, and I forgot in post.
Oh, I wasn't even talking about that. I was just talking about just the general idea of, because that was my first question too. I'm like, how are they allowed in this arcade right now?
We weren't.
Right.
Simply.
I know. And then you answered it immediately. I was like, all right. I just was like, who do they know? Who do they know?
No, and it's just my thought process for going anywhere and doing this is like no one's going to care. Right. That's never true. And I should have learned that 5 times by now easily. Yeah.
It's hard in Los Angeles too, when everyone has a camera and everyone's shooting everything. And
it's a college project.
I know, but that's so good. You guys look like college students still.
We played to our strengths.
I can't get away with that.
For the people that don't know, where does the name Sugar Pine 7 come from?
Good question. So at SourceFed, we did this parody of Naked and Afraid. Mm-hmm. And they brought us out to Idlewild, where the cabin that we stayed at and rented was Sugar Pine Suites. Okay. I don't remember if it actually had 7, but there were 7 of us that were sort of in Sugar Pine at the time. And we didn't have a group name. So the cabin just fit immediately. But then the 7 came from, I think there was me, James, Kib, Autumn, Jeremy, Parker, and Raina was originally thought to be, because we did a couple videos here and there, but turns out the 7 just eventually meant nothing.
Cool.
Got it.
But keep people guessing.
Well, now they won't know. Or now they won't guess at all. Because they'll know.
Well, or just give them an actual answer about it, I guess. That works too.
But it's really catchy. I mean, it's just such a catchy name. Like, it sounds like...
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so there's something about it that grabs you, so...
Do you guys have, because there is a lot of silly stuff that you guys do in your videos, is there a safe word amongst friends of like, we can't show this, we can't do this? I've asked David Dobrik and his group of friends that same thing of like, how do you have to get permissions from everyone if this is too much? Or I guess because you guys have more of a group brainstorm beforehand, everyone kind of knows what they're getting into.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows, everybody's sort of on the same page. We definitely err on the side of everything's free to talk about. Not necessarily put in a video, but I know that was actually an issue at SourceFed. Not an issue, but it was something that we butted heads on, is that in the writer's room, I felt like, and there were other people that felt like you should be able to say whatever you want just to try to shotgun effect and see what works and what doesn't, because only then you'll find out. I mean, you can obviously think about it beforehand.
Sure.
Maybe saying it's funny. Yeah. I don't know. But there were other people there that were like, oh, no, that's not what you should do. You should know, you should have a line. But Sugar Pine 7, we just leave it up to the editing at that point.
Oh, okay.
So there have been things that we've had to cut out for sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, I'm sure you can't talk about things that you've had to cut out.
Maybe.
Or you can. You're welcome to. If there's anything that you're like, this is one I wish.
So there was no one here is going to find this funny. Well, maybe.
Now it's a challenge.
It's okay if it's not funny, if it's interesting.
It's a really bad, dumb joke that we cut it out because we were like, oh, this is very dumb. Yeah. And it's not funny. It's not worth the flack that we're going to get for it.
Yeah.
So we were going to pan in on a certain building, and you can hear our voices on the inside, but or we weren't going to have our voices shown in the beginning, but it's going to pan on a building that is for, you know, a certain type of disabled people.
Okay.
So that's the start, and then it just cuts to us inside a building, just working. So that's our office. So it was just one of those things that we talked about, and obviously I don't find this funny now, but at the time it was just one of those things where you're like, oh, maybe that, you know.
Yeah,
but you're smart enough to know in editing.
Well, we've gotten away with what we've done so far, so
yeah.
But I think there's a big difference between. I think that's an important thing, is you gave yourselves the freedom to let's explore this and see if it's funny or if it crosses the line. When you realized it did, you were smart enough to cut it out.
Yeah, when you realize it's not worth it, even if it's making fun of yourselves in some aspect, like the offense that it might have in another aspect is going to outweigh that, and that's going to weigh on your guilty consciences later.
Are you familiar with the Friends ruling?
No.
Have you heard about this?
What's that?
So there was a famous lawsuit that happened back when Friends was on TV, and where some people in the writers' room said, you know, there are certain things you just can't joke about. There are certain things you can't do. Like, these things are offensive. And then the other side were saying, no, the writer's room needs to be a free expression. We need to be able to explore things and try to find the funny without being personally offensive to you. So I would never say, like, you know, you're ugly or something like that. As long as I'm not saying that, we should be free to explore things which may be quote unquote offensive to outside, because this needs to be a safe space. And the courts ruled in their favor and saying does need it. They you know, with the caveat of you're not personally attacking somebody, but that and I think that's been a thing that resonates through Hollywood. It comes up all the time, especially in light of what's going on in the current political climate of like, what can we do and what can't we do? Because there is that understanding that there's an editing process at some point where you can go, you know what, you're right, this does cross the line. Let's take this out, or let's remove this from the script. But often some really great and funny ideas come from going to a place that's maybe a little too far. And we're like, well, let's dial this back a little bit and still find the funny without being offensive.
The trick is just not to film a dead body in the woods.
Yep.
Well.
Speaking of, welcome to Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig. But speaking of that, are there any vlogging tropes? I mean, because vlogging has become this really, you know, cliche thing. Are there any vlogging tropes that you're like, we're not going to do that? That's like dumb, or...
I don't really like turning the camera around on myself.
Yeah,
and filming.
I noticed
I think that's incredibly embarrassing, and I see people doing that in public, and it's just... I mean, I'm not going to knock them for doing it, but fuck them.
It's just not your style. There you go. Don't knock them, just fuck them.
Yeah, your videos feel a lot more like documentary. Yeah, which is cool.
Definitely
and I think it's interesting too, because the voiceover being sort of like, is this real or isn't this real? Because it's shot in documentary, it really blurs. Also, you have a very deadpan style. So like even parts of like this interview, I'm like, is he joking right now? It's hard to tell sometimes.
There are a lot of truths in these videos that a lot of people think are jokes.
Really?
In a lot of different ways. I've alluded to some terrible things, and people have yet to catch on. So
Really?
maybe they will.
See, I can't tell if you're joking now.
Not joking. I swear.
I believe it. But also that I was going to ask you, because now you guys do Beyond the Pine, your podcast, where when I watched one, I was like, oh, they're going to be in character. And you even refer to like your friend as he plays this character in the show. And I always wondered how you guys handled that.
I mean, Kib?
No, you had Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
Or you guys are playing Never Have I Ever.
Oh, no, you watched the worst one.
So, yeah, it's got the most clickbait title. Why wouldn't I watch that?
Never Have I Ever?
I was like, let me learn about these guys in this video. And then I realized, like, you guys just love your vape pens so goddamn much.
Yes. It started off as a joke, and then I was going to bring it here, and then everyone in the office was like, no, why would you?
Well, that's what I was telling them. I was like, I started listening, and then I would like scrub forward on moments, and it just got grayer and grayer and grayer. And I was like, why is the video part even here now? I don't need this. But no, it's fun because you guys are yourselves and you are friends. And I'm like, they're pretty candid with each other on these that I feel like more secrets of the show might come. I mean, you've done what, 20 some episodes of that?
Something about 20 something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how does that compare to doing like a daily vlog episode?
I prefer doing the vlogs.
Yeah.
I'm not like a huge consistent series kind of person. I just get tired of it really quickly, which is why I like doing the series so much, Alternative Lifestyles, because it's a different thing every day.
Right.
So
yeah, so you don't script out like what the arc is, right? Or do you loosely?
We tend to, at the beginning of a season, get really pumped to plan out all of it. And then about 2 or 3 weeks in, we're like, fuck it. And then we just go with something else. Yeah.
But that's like improv, right? You say yes and to whatever is happening.
And that's the best part of the show.
Yeah.
Is that it's just you can change whatever you want at any time.
That's what makes it feel real.
Like the season 2 storyline had this paranormal aspect to it. And we just turned it all around at the end and made it like a fourth wall breaking thing. And it's really about the show because we wanted to bring it back to the real point of it, which was a group of friends trying to make their way in this industry. So
fun. At the core of it, it's just like The Hills, right? Basically.
Exactly is. Yeah.
We're going to take a break in a second, but before we do, I'm going to do this after the break. Before we do, we're going to look at something in a segment called This is Curious, where we found something that you've tweeted and or posted on social media from the past that is a little curious to us. I want to find out what's the reason behind this. This is from December 26th, the day after Christmas, 2014. And it's a tweet that says, how do you break into a house?
Well, Grace, I think the answer is pretty self-explanatory.
If you knew, why would you tweet this?
I was just hoping there was maybe an aficionado on Twitter, someone that...
Well, you got 46 replies?
Yeah.
Was one of them the one that worked?
None of them worked.
All right. But I mean, it's...
you know what this actually was? I locked myself out of my house.
Oh, really?
That's exactly what that was.
The day after Christmas?
Yeah. Wow, it was the day after Christmas. I locked myself out. No, you know what? It was none of those things. I was visiting my parents, and they weren't home, and I was going to surprise visit them.
Oh,
and
no.
I couldn't get into their house, so I was going to break into their house, and since they're so old, give them heart attacks.
Oh, that's really sweet. But I love that this is a very 2014... If you have an issue, crowdsource the solution.
Yeah, that's the old me.
Yeah. Oh, now it's the new you. Is that you have the keys to everyone's house. You can break in whenever you want. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I'm going to ask Steven. Do you go by Steve? Steven?
Either or, Steve.
Steve? Okay, I'm going to ask Steve the 2 questions that I ask every single guest that's on the podcast, and then we're going to answer your Twitter questions. We'll be right back with more... How do you pronounce his name, Jack?
Steven Suptic.
Oh, not too deep. See you in a second.
Not too deep.
Oh, here we go. Squarespace is back. Back again.
I love these guys.
Supporting our podcast.
They've been supporting us since it seems like the very beginning. So, of course, they're back. Welcome back, guys.
It feels like they've been supporting us since pre-podcasts existing.
It does feel that way.
They've supported us, I think, longer than our parents have. So thank you, Squarespace.
Thank you, Squarespace.
Here's why you guys need to support them. If you're ready to start a new business, make it stand out with Squarespace. They've got beautiful templates that are created by world-class designers, and they make it easy to turn your idea, whatever it is, whatever you may have boiling in your old brain cube, into a new and unique website. What kind of stuff can they do?
Okay, so you could not just showcase your work, although you can do that. Not just blog, not just publish content. You can even sell products and services of all kinds. And guess what? Just a few clicks.
And make it stand out. You can customize everything from look and feel to settings and products. And it's all optimized for mobile right out of the box, something I probably wouldn't have even thought about, but they already thought about it for me.
Yeah, because if you look at a lot of websites on your phone, so you want it to be optimized for mobile.
Yeah.
And you can use Squarespace's analytics to help you grow your business in real time. And if you're not really a tech savvy person, such as myself, don't worry. Not only is there nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever, but if you do have a technical question, Squarespace's award-winning 24/7 customer support is there to help.
I didn't even know customer support could be award-winning, but
yeah, I think
it is with Squarespace.
I think it's the supporties. They won the supporties.
Congrats.
Congrats, Squarespace.
Guys, listen, Destiny is calling. It says you need a new website and you got to make it with Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you are ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE, GRACE, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That is squarespace.com. Offer code GRACE.
Sorry, let's start that over again. How did you meet everybody?
Oh, yeah. Don't mind us. We're just redoing a very candid real life moment so you guys can get privy to this conversation. I want to know how you met Kib and James, right? James, yeah. James, okay.
I met Kib first about 4 years ago. We were all going to the same convention. I didn't know him at the time, but I had walked in on a room that we were all staying at because we had friends of friends there.
Gotcha.
And he was naked on a bed with two of his mates.
Fun.
And that was, we became immediate best friends.
Is that real?
The same day, we just bonded so much. And then we just stayed friends. Yeah.
That's a polarizing first impression. That's going to go either best friends or, repressed. We've never met before.
And for me, it's a mix of both.
Yeah, there you go.
And James I met, he was a PA at SourceFed.
Oh,
so
okay.
he had gotten hired
cool.
there. And I think he was very frustrating for a lot of people that worked there.
He was frustrating?
Not actually. I just remember one time when...
you were going to say he was frustrated working there. Oh, no.
That too.
Got it.
He walked out and because he just couldn't stop laughing during this one shot. And everyone's just like, oh, did he actually? And then...
That's great.
I knew it was meant to be ever since. We'd have our own... Before our actual podcast at SourceFed started, James and I would sit down at the podcast set by ourselves and just do and welcome back to the Saturday Go Down. And then we just riff for...
Did you record these?
No.
This is just you guys practicing on the mics.
But we have to do a panel at Rooster Teeth or at Sydney coming up. And we're the only two people on the panel. So we might just do that podcast.
You should.
Man.
That sounds great. Wait, when will that happen? When is that convention?
Yikes, I don't know.
But is it in the next month or two?
Oh, no, it's coming up. Oh, it's the 30th through the 5th.
Oh, okay.
At least that's my flight date.
So this will air after that because we pre-shoot a bunch and then roll these out. So
it went well.
Yeah, I was going to say, let us know. Tweet at us at how the panel went. Okay, we're going to get into some Twitter questions, but first, I'm going to ask you the two questions I ask every single guest on the podcast. And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Alive or dead? Yikes.
Yeah, it can be a good reason. It can be a bad reason. It can just be for funsies.
Well, obviously, you have to go with someone you dislike, because why would it be so?
Well, actually, some people had some good answers for that. But I don't want to influence your answer now.
Well, I'm just going straight to a terrorist.
Okay.
I'm thinking just who was the worst one? There have been a few.
Sure. I mean, you can also just say a terrorist as your answer.
I want to get specific.
The worst terrorist.
I'm going to say the worst terrorist.
Okay, the worst terrorist.
The worst terrorist there ever was or ever will be.
Okay, I think that's...
Cold spaghetti right in the face.
Cold spaghetti. Yeah. Fair answer. Okay, and I think I might know this because I accidentally watched the podcast where this might be a story related to this. But the other question I ask every single guest is tell us your worst pants shitting story or close call. But you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So mine is college, jogging, front lawn. Ooh. Yeah.
Recently, couldn't unlock.
Oh.
I have a problem with houses.
Clearly.
And if you want the full story behind the 3 word or small phrase answer, you can listen to Beyond the Pine because you explain it there. That's how I know it.
Oh, did we explain it?
Yeah, you guys came in hot on that episode talking about like you've had a real bad day.
It was the worst day.
And I was like, is this what their podcast normally is? But it was great.
I feel like it's something different every time.
But that's the thing. It changes every time. But I'm glad to hear that it wasn't a complete disaster because I was getting anxiety listening to the stories. Make sure you go check it out. It's very detailed narrative.
No, thank you to the people at Pollo Campero who are down the block from us, who made me pay for flan before I could use their bathroom.
Oh, for real?
So I was in the middle of shitting my pants.
Oh,
and,
no.
I had to pay for flan as well.
Which is probably another pants shitting inducing food to
3
purchase.
words, flan.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Here are your Twitter questions. Hyperborana Dev wants to know, how many cars have you crashed, Steven? Yeah, this is a thing for you, right? What's going on with this?
Now.
Just one.
Okay.
But I have been in an accident in my college parking lot before this I was bumped into.
Okay, that wasn't your fault.
No, and it was much less severe, I think.
Okay.
Many
So
would think
what
that.
was the one
this one,
that was severe?
I remember someone showed me, I think Diane and I were looking at
I can show you guys some pictures.
Yeah, the picture, and you were like, I'll miss this car or something, and it's just a completely totaled car.
Yeah.
And
were
I was
you
like,
okay?
Yeah.
Were the other people okay?
It was just me.
Wow.
Just me, luckily.
Did you hit a tree? What happened?
No, I hit a thing on the side of the road and I went rolling.
Oh, my.
Jeez. But that's one of those things where I had just started learning about who you were.
Oh, nice car.
Nice car.
Very nice.
Beautiful sports car.
A YouTuber car.
Very David Dobrik car.
Yep. And then where is October? That's when all the good stuff happens.
Because this is when I first learned about you and like your world. And then I saw this photo and I was like, is this for a video? I can't tell if this is real life or
no,
this
but we
is...
used it in a video.
Make mountains out of molehills.
Where the hell is October?
Uh-oh. The universe is pranking you.
There's July, August. Oh, we're getting close.
We're getting close.
All right. Are you guys ready?
Oh, so ready.
It's right here.
Holy moly, man.
Yeah, that looks fucking intense. Did you
wow.
It looks like... and there's and there's a sweet selfie.
Yeah, had to.
What was your body damage?
Minimal. I had a knee issue for a little bit.
Okay.
And then there was like there's a scare for a second, but it was just diarrhea.
We've all been there.
No, definitely was probably one of the worst points in my life for sure.
Jeez. Yeah,
you just lost control of the car. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds crazy.
That's terrifying.
And do you drive now?
No, I'm waiting for a little bit. I'm a little timid. I might get a moped.
There you go.
You know, that's more dangerous, right?
I'll go at much slower speeds.
Yeah.
Sure.
No helmet, though.
No helmet.
Yeah, this is a terrible idea, Steven.
I say no jacket, no helmet.
Listen,
you've been through it.
You know, you rolled a car which has a cage on it. That's why you're okay.
I've just been taking Ubers everywhere now.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, actually, I think they just got the roll cage implemented in the 2017 model. So
wow.
That was lucky.
Wow, that's pretty bonkers.
Man.
Well, we're
sorry.
glad.
That car was really fucked up.
It was.
It was very scary looking.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah. The worst part about it was so I was upside down when it was all crashed and the doors were closed in. And I looked at my hands, they were all bloody. And I was like, yikes. But it was just the glass from the ceiling panel. Yeah. So I wasn't like, in mortal danger, but I was kind of in shock. So I didn't know at the time. So I tried to push the door out on my left, which would be, when you're upside down, I don't know what door that is, but wouldn't move. And I started thinking like, no.
Oh, gosh. Sure. Yeah.
Surely the other one, though. I pushed the other door. No.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I started getting a little claustrophobic.
Did they Jaws of Life you out?
No, I had a hero moment.
You broke through the window.
I kicked the door and it popped open.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of those adrenaline rush moments where like the women can lift cars off their babies because they're just so like endorphined out by it.
Thankfully, I was able to lift the car off the baby I'd run over.
Phew. God, that baby should have known that its mother left it for a reason.
The only bad part is the car was a lease.
Oh.
Is that true?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Papa YouTube, help support.
But you were insured, surely.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's good.
Oh my.
On a lighter note, not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Oh my.
Josh Schutz wants to know what's his favorite flavor vape juice.
I really like Korean Jesus.
That's a real thing?
It is.
What's it taste like?
It's like got a menthol to it. It's minty sort of. So it's not this fruity blast, and it's not chocolate or some bullshit. It's just minty, and it leaves you refreshed and dehydrated.
That's my favorite feeling all the time. I feel like that should be my deodorant scent. Refreshed and dehydrated. Lindsay JP 5990. What my favorite thing ever with my favorite people ever is in the works? ? Sorry, that's not a question. Get out of here. Lizzie Y and a bunch of people want to know, do you like Cow Chop?
Of course. Yeah.
What is Cow Chop?
They're like our brother or sister company, basically.
Okay. Oh, those are the people that you have like fake beef with?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Or like
Like they're one of the few groups that we collaborate with consistently. It's like them and Funhouse because they're both Rooster Teeth brands, and we've all been friends for a really long time. So it just makes sense.
Yeah, I think I just saw in an episode that you were going to do a podcast with them.
Yeah, and I did. And I was reading some of the comments, and they're like, "Wow, Alex really hates Steve." People really come up with
their own drama.
Intricate ways to put people apart. It's funny.
Do you guys you must have fan fiction written about you guys as castmates?
If not, Google it.
I'll have to Google it. I remember a long time ago when we did, Minecraft stuff. There were definitely fan fictions. We'd read them as a series, but I haven't seen any about Sugar Pine 7.
Really?
I don't know if I just haven't been looking hard enough.
I'm sure it exists.
I think that has to exist. There has to be ships for you guys, or at least conspiracy theories.
I feel like there was a Bruce and Autumn ship, and then there was a Peak who's the editor for Funhouse, and then we have Autumn, and they basically had the same kind of personality where they're just like, and then they ship them. But that's really it. I can't think of a Kib and Steve ship or a James and Kib ship
yet,
but soon.
Hi, Awesomeness wants to know: does he want kids
someday?
Because you are engaged.
Yeah.
This is public knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you got engaged in Iceland.
Yes.
I've been to Iceland. It rules.
It does. What time did you go? What month?
I went with Hannah and Mamrie in August, I want to say.
Okay, so you went during when it wasn't the worst.
No,
were
not
you there
August.
in like January or something?
February, yeah. It was
silly you. What were you thinking?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Do you like not having daylight?
No, we went in May maybe.
That's pretty good.
That's
though.
gonna be nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was freezing still.
How long did you stay?
We stayed for a little over a week, I think. It was hard to tell.
Amount of time, yeah.
I think we went right after Amsterdam.
So did you spend most of your time in Reykjavik?
Yes, yeah.
I love that town so much.
It was
they
so
hate
cool.
tourists.
They do, and the bars there are so ridiculous. They have a
the dude bar.
Yeah,
They got the Chuck Norris grill.
Yeah, which isn't a bar, which sucked.
Yeah.
Mamrie and I were on a mission to go. They have a bar called Boston Bar, and we went up there, and it was like a 14-year-old girl like bartending. And we're like, there's something real gross about this. This might be what they think Boston is like, but it just doesn't make sense. But it was beautiful. It's like you're landed on the moon somewhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, we both had strep.
Oh,
during that trip.
So you just
it
had
was
like
the fucking worst. But
then you got engaged.
Yeah. And I took her to this lighthouse area in Iceland because I had looked it up online, and I was like, oh, surely it'll be illuminated at night.
Right.
The lighthouse will be on, and it'll be beautiful. It'll be just us. All of it wrong. The lighthouse not on. Couldn't see anything. Couldn't even see the lighthouse.
Oh God.
Tons of tourists, all just sitting around. Doing nothing, just standing.
They're like, what are you looking at?
It was like the end scene from John Wick 2. And the worst part of it was I opened up the ring box and it was upside down. And she looked at it, she's like, yes, where is the... and then I looked at it and I was like, no.
Oh my God.
It was like the most money I'd ever spent in my life. It was from Tiffany's. And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
I will never lose this. And then I looked at the box and I didn't see it. And I was like,
oh my God.
Haven't gotten insurance on that yet, which is clearly a consistent issue in my life.
You're working on it?
Yeah.
You just need a couple more like real life-changing moments to get you to
That last one is good that's the one that I needed for sure.
But you found it.
At least she said yes.
It was just
It was
had to be turned upside down.
Oh God, I thought it
I
was
would
gonna
have
like
had a
fall
panic
out.
attack.
Yeah,
I would have had a panic attack.
But that's so sweet. Is there a wedding date, or is that like?
No, we've been poor for a very long time.
Hey.
I thought that having this business and like views doing well, it would really change, a lot about my life. No, it turns out you have to pay employees, you have to pay for countless things. And especially when we put so much money back into the business itself, that there's just barely anything left over to do anything fun with.
Yeah, it's a huge investment. It's a big learning curve too, that you realize that YouTube is as a business.
But a lot of it's also startup costs. I mean, you guys have an office now. You're kind of like,
and we have the camera that we want now. And we have
I see. Yes. So Stephen came with I'm assuming it's a C300.
Yes, it shoots RAW.
Yeah. Ooh,
yeah. I love that you.
I love those cameras.
I love that you say that. I don't ever want to turn my camera around on me in public because I think that's like so obvious. But then you came in with like a full rig.
Yes, it's not like a DSLR, guys. This is a like film style camera.
Yeah.
Just Google Canon C300 and get a sense of what it looks like. It's got a shotgun mic on it with a.
Yeah, they say
a dead cat.
Yeah,
Windfury on it.
Nice NTG3 on top. And they say you want to to be more relatable to your audience on YouTube. You want to keep videos the same kind of style over time, and that's why Jenna Marbles hasn't really changed her method for years upon years, and we just didn't at all. Try to make it as unrelatable as possible. I
think it's great. I think that's why it's so interesting because it feels so cinematic. It feels, and not in like a Casey Neistat way. It's shot obviously like well and pretty, but at the same time it is messy and Blair Witchy and like all over the place. So I think it's a good balance. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. I think it's a nice balance of not being good enough for TV and not being relatable enough for people on YouTube.
Yeah. Toe that middle line that no one is at.
It's for no one.
Yeah. This is weird camera
We're
purgatory. The small 001 wants to know, what is your 5-year plan?
Well, I have a goal for sure. I'm writing a book.
Congrats.
And you guys shot a horror film too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just the start to...
It's called The Woods?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's on your channel available. Like people can go see that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm writing that book and I'm hoping that it's going to be one of those things that I can adapt into a screenplay down the line.
That's
and maybe
awesome.
like Good Will Hunting it. Not that it would ever be as good as Good Will Hunting, but like where they work on it for such a long period of time and then eventually they're able to like mix and match all of the different things to suit how they want it exactly so it's good. And then the dream, which I imagine we'll never get to, but it's absolutely the dream, is to work with A24 in some way.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Oh my God, those guys, I love them so much.
What's A24? Guys...
They're a movie company and they just make the coolest movies.
Oh, cool.
Like everything they put out is like,
they did
Lady Bird. So cool.
They did The Witch. They did
that Robert Pattinson movie.
Good Time. Yeah, I haven't seen that. James really loves that movie.
Like everything they make is cool.
That's
like even
awesome.
their logo is cool. Like everything.
And you don't hear about their bad movies because they sweep them under the rug.
They don't. I don't think they
so
make
they're a
bad
mafia,
movies.
basically.
They actually sweep them under the rug.
Yeah.
Okay, got
they're
it.
a mafia. That sounds awesome. And I also don't think that is impossible by any means.
Yeah, you should get a meeting with them. They're like here.
Attainable?
Yeah. No,
Jack will set it up for you. Don't worry.
No, I just think they're
Jack.
I'm just saying
so
they're
nice.
in Los Angeles. I mean, it is possible,
But I was going to ask. Oh, hi, Diane. Welcome.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, Diane's here, guys.
Yay.
Hi, Diane.
Just didn't want Steve to think that like a random walks in and we just like, hey, she's robbing us, but we keep it casual. No, I was going to ask, because you guys are making all this stuff and you've done the horror film. Are you trying to do longer form scripted content?
Yeah, so that's something we're looking forward to doing in the next, hopefully, year or so. We're going to plan it out quite a bit to make a feature.
Cool.
We're not sure what kind of feature we want to do. I personally, for the longest time, and I don't think anyone else that's part of the company wants to do it, I've been wanting to make a newish, different version, but still cool of The Most Dangerous Game. That's my ultimate goal. Yeah. So I wanted to do some version of that. But
see, I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, it's just this man that brings this person out to an island and then hunts them.
Because man is the most dangerous game. Because man can
Lord of the Flies.
Defend itself. Yeah, it's a very dark novel, right? I mean, it's...
Yeah, it started off as a novel.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
They made the movies.
Yeah,
I think they did too.
That would be great.
That's super cool. Also, you guys do music too?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing or is that like
it's a joking thing mostly,
okay.
yeah.
I was going to say.
We know it's not good.
But no. I was going to say, is it like parody music or is it like this is us trying to make a funny song that does actually sound like a good song?
One song that we're making right now actually does sound kind of good and it is sort of funny. So it's teetering on the edge of good.
But that's like what Bo Burnham does that I think is so good is that he makes funny music that still sounds really great.
Yeah, it's good music.
So you're like, I want to listen to this, but it's also really funny.
Yeah, we're doing an 80s LP. I don't know the difference between LP and EP, but it's
either.
3
An EP
songs.
is shorter.
Yeah, we've got like
That's
an
an EP.
80s hip hop song, and then
Fun.
we've got an 80s like sad song, and then an 80s rock ballad.
Cool. Why
Cool.
80s?
Just felt right.
As children of the 90s, it felt right.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Let's see. I am Kibachu wants to know, what's it like working with Rooster Teeth and being a part of a family?
It's great. We are very disconnected because they're in Austin.
Okay, Scallywap wants to know, does he sleep? I worry about him.
Very good question, Scallywap. Very good question. Indeed. I mean, I wake up probably about 9 or so, and then depending on the day, I stay at the office till 1 or 2.
Yeah, do you guys go into the office every day?
Yeah.
And work, all of you?
Not so much weekends anymore for everyone else besides me,
Yeah.
but
Ooh.
which it's like, I can't force them to do that.
Sure.
That must be exhausting though, being on that 7-day-a-week thing.
Yeah, I mean, I crashed my car. So that was definitely a turning point there, but I still do it. So
but you guys are
didn't
also,
teach me much.
But you're also you're a startup company. And this, I think, is par for the course for a lot of people that are passionate about what they do and are just starting out, is that you have to put all this effort in. And I mean, you seem like a workaholic type of personality, which is what so many YouTubers are. And it feels like, I'm sure you would feel dissatisfied if the work didn't get done.
Absolutely. It's the worst part about it is because the job's never done.
Right.
And I also think that there's this weird aspect to it that since I have my vape in the office, the reason I keep staying at the office is because I'm addicted to nicotine. And it's just like, that's my happy place now.
So
I just
you
never
don't take
wanna
it
leave.
home with you. So that's
No.
So it is nicotine that you're smoking. It's not because
Yes.
there are some people who just smoke like the flavored water
And it's like,
stuff.
what's the point? It's like drinking decaf. I mean, I get it for people that have heart
it's like
problems.
drinking O'Doul's.
Did you used to smoke cigarettes?
No, I'm trying to work my way up.
Slow and steady. I should have started with a vape. I tried to smoke cigarettes in college, and I'd be like, I'm stressed out. Oh, I'm so lightheaded.
Oh,
it
no,
doesn't taste
guys.
good. No, I can finish it.
I smoked for over 10 years, and it's impossible to get out of your it's one of the hardest things to do is to quit cigarettes. Don't ever, trust me.
Don't ever quit.
Don't ever
Don't
quit.
ever start smoking cigarettes. Don't ever start smoking. I'm shocked that you do that because nicotine is so crazy addictive.
I smoke a cigarette every once in a while, like if I'm drunk.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Okay.
Because then I don't even remember it.
Kaylin wants to know, what's your biggest regret of your past YouTube endeavors? If there are any regrets, or I would say, what's your proudest moment?
Streamies. Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that
this
was amazing.
I was going to say, I
Congrats.
don't really have like any regrets because it led to here.
No.
And I wouldn't want anything to change this.
Change that course.
Yeah.
Of course. The streamies was a big moment for you guys. That's how I found out who you guys were, because I go through peaks and valleys of being like invested in YouTube culture and
Same.
trying to find what's going on.
I watch Doug DeMuro, who's a car guy. That's about it.
I know. I watch Real Housewives, and
I watch tech videos.
Hell yeah. Linus,
Yeah.
that's my boy.
Yeah.
I don't know him at all.
Yeah,
I
I
wish.
really enjoy watching him build a computer. I just find it so relaxing for some reason.
It is.
I don't know why.
he sounds great. It
But
all
yeah,
sounds
the
great.
stream.
But that's how I found out about you as well because
Because you guys won Best Show of the Year, right?
Yeah.
And you beat out like Phil DeFranco, which is also ironic. Like there's a weird irony there.
Yeah, we did not think. I mean, he's won enough, but
Yeah.
But also that,
But it was like your moment. You guys
and
really
it's fan base. It's like a fan accumulated thing. Which
yeah, we
is,
had this plot set up to where we're like, we'll make a really sad video about this.
Oh, that's
and then when Liza was like, Sugar Pine 7,
Yeah.
we were just like, oh, well, everybody else kind of recognized it right away. And I just like sat there, just like looking at Phil.
Oh my.
And I was like, wow, good job, dude.
before it registered
Yeah.
what was happening.
Wow.
That you were already
You're already pissed at him for
yeah.
winning.
You're already off on
That's
your own
so
narrative.
funny. We knew you were gonna win, actually, because when Ryan and I were nominated for Best Directing and on Twitter, and
You son of a bitch.
we got
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, bring it out
You
at the
did
end of the podcast.
oh, it's the school.
yeah, Mr. Student Body
Mr.
President.
Student. There we go. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Very good show.
So, but like our Twitter mentions blew up with you guys, with your fans being like, "This is fucking bullshit." I was like, wow, like you have a very passionate fan base.
It seems like a lot of fan bases on there are the same because a fan base from a competing show of the year group just did the same thing to us.
Yeah,
and they were like,
exactly.
They cheated.
Yeah, but that clued me into your stuff. And then I was like, oh no, this stuff is great. And it's all part of the same circle.
And in no way did we deserve best directing at all. We don't do anything that's related to directing.
Yeah, and our shows are very different, obviously. And I also feel like it's weird.
You have a show.
Yeah, it's a show. It's just a different style, but whatever.
But it's also people have different fandoms, and because
of course, and you want to support your the show that you love. Of
their
course.
shows on YouTube versus an app, then it's like, oh, there's a very tangible group of people that are like, what is this show? And they don't know,
That's right.
I hate it before looking.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree the best part of award shows is the way it just completely polarizes audiences and causes, much more hate than
it makes
joy.
like good movies terrible suddenly. It makes makes our fans hate each other.
It tears people down in so many ways.
There's plenty of room for all of us, and so. But anyway, I thought that was a positive thing because it introduced me because your fans are very vocal in a very positive way. I felt like too, like they were very loud at the event and and they were very loud on Twitter. Obviously, they were very excited when you guys won. And I was just like, this clearly is something I need to check out. And I was glad I did. I think you guys make really cool stuff.
I feel like for the most part, we've attracted an audience that's very the opposite of toxic.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah. I was gonna say it seems like it's an audience that has good intentions, that just is there to support you more than to take someone else down.
Granted, there are a lot of people in the comments that are more than willing to point out spelling errors in the subtitles. Every video, it's like,
well, that's the thing too. You guys
do
make
the subtitles though?
Yeah, it's either me or Autumn.
Well, that's great that you do that.
Sounds like you're talking to a little poor kid.
No, because a lot of people don't go to that.
Kidding.
A lot of people don't go to that trouble, and I know because I have a lot of like hearing disabled.
I wish I didn't have to.
Fans.
I know you guys.
Like we did that for Mr. Mighty President.
Yeah.
Mel over here was
Subtitle
the one who did
work?
all of the closed.
Jesus.
Well, we had to do closed captioning, which is a whole other process.
Miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's
supposedly there's a website that does it for you.
There is.
Have you used it?
It's not very
very great. That's great news.
Yeah.
You have to do it manually. It's really the only way.
But I think it's also, as someone who has prided herself on not learning how technology really works, and then ipso facto making that my brand when things screw up, and I because I didn't rewatch a video, end up with like 20 minutes of black space at the end. Just build it into your brand. That sometimes make them think that there's this weird conspiracy theory Easter egg that when you spell out all the words that get misspelled throughout all the episodes, it's going to leave you with a message.
Yeah, Grace, I get that, but the whole end of the video is black. There's nothing to spell out.
I mean, let it think about it. It'll hit you later.
Okay, thinking about it.
Yep. You're not enlightened
It's
yet.
just over my head, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you'll get it
Take
next
all
time.
the letters that are missing from the subtitles, and it spells out the conspiracy of where the Illuminati is.
There you go.
That's it. That's the
So many
secret.
layers. So many layers. Just like Steven himself. So many layers. We've reached the end of the podcast.
Aww.
Thank you for making time.
I really enjoyed this.
This was super fun. And I'm so glad that you were able to make time because you have been someone that I'm like, I just want to pick his brain and find out how they do what they do because I really, truly, I've been on YouTube forever and think what you're doing is super smart because it makes me mad.
Thank you so much.
So yeah.
Big fan as well over here.
Thanks. Where can people find you and everything that you're doing if they can't or don't know already?
The channel's just called Sugar Pine 7. Just
With
on YouTube.
number 7 or
Number 7. Yeah.
Number 7. And then everything, you can find him and all of his friends across all social media platforms. As a thank you for being here, we have given you a special fortune cookie that has a fortune just for you.
Oh my God. What will it say? Oh, this has a special fortune?
Mm-hmm. Well,
One that's not from a restaurant?
They're all special
They're
in
all
their own
special
ways.
in their own way.
So this one's a specially curated.
Perhaps.
Your hair will not grow back weird, but you will get bangs, which is weird.
Wow.
Wow.
That
Very specific.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jack, would you like to say his name one more time for us?
Yes. Thank you, Steven Suptic, for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you.
And
this
if you
is
haven't
stale.
I know. They are really stale. I'm really sorry.
No,
but
our podcast is getting better. Don't worry. Go check out Sugar Pine 7. You will not be upset that you did. And we'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep with Grace Helbig.
This episode of Not Too Deep has been brought to you by Third Love. When it comes to bra shopping, it's all about finding the right fit for you, and there's only one lingerie brand that offers bras in sizes AA through G. It's Third Love. Find your perfect fitting bra today. Go to thirdlove.com/grace, GRACE, and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/grace, thirdlove.com/grace.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated.
Produced and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer Melissa D. Mons.
With writing by Diane Kang.
Production assistance by Jenny Stringfellow.
Audio support by Chris Henry.
Editing by Melissa D. Mons.
And an extra special thank you to Flula for the theme music.